think once you establish yourself in a new city, you shouldn't be missing the things you've left behind, really, because you've chosen to live in a new city, and therefore this becomes your home, and you make it what you want it to be. And if you're constantly missing things you left behind, then go back to where you came from.
What they've got in their folder. If there's anything missing, ask me, because it will be quite important the more we go into the lessons. Right, I go through the bilingualism. Do they change the way you think about the world? Well, we talked about it last week, but it allows you to be a little bit more involved or engaged in other countries and other cultures. How much more? Would you need to learn Peruvian/Spanish if you went to Peru to have a better life over there as a tourist than you would if you didn't know the language? Your parents have been there, so that might be something you talk to them about. How much do they think they would have got more out of that trip? And if you were there as well, how much would you have got more out of the trip if you could speak fluent in Spanish? And if you speak Spanish, how much do you speak? And was it enough for you to feel you got a good idea of the culture in Peru? For example, Lester. When we talk about tourism, try and think about stereotypes. This, for me, is it's a good picture on top of a hotel. This used in Kaunas. I took it, you open up the hotel, and people can get to the top and see the city from the top of this derelict hotel. You know where it is in the center of Vilnius. It's not used, but you can get to the top of it. That's a DJ. And when we think of DJs, we probably think of balding or bearded young men, normally. Baggy clothes, just coming back from Ibiza. Stereotypes of DJs. This lady's real. She's a DJ in Britain, in Brighton, and she's about 70, probably about 80s now, mid-80s, and she's doing all of this spinning discs and stuff. So please, when we think about any ideas we have for cities, just always try and get away from the stereotypes, the things that we automatically always think of first.
Well, Jokūbas, you might say, I've been doing it all my life, really, you know, from football refereeing and teaching players about the real laws of the game, you know, so kind of getting them to be aware of what they're doing wrong. Training courses, I used to do a lot of training courses when I came here. I don't know, I think I fell into it at university. I offered to do a creative writing course at Darbo, and I did a semester there doing that. I liked it, and then I got picked up by Darbo to do something similar.
How do you feel after all the lessons?
Knackered, tired. I wouldn't say knackered, but depends really. You know, they said last year I had a good gang review on the other gang, and it just takes one or two students in the class to make it a little bit unruly, a little bit kind of difficult, you know. And there's one class now with just one difficult student, and it just means that the tension in the class is always there, and difficult. You know, you give somebody the saying, give somebody enough rope and they'll hang themselves. Not literally, but I mean, just keep giving them opportunities and chances.
the bus rider's not taking any at all. So, tiring now, Thursday, 2 full days. It's one lesson after the next. Whereas with you, I had these gaps in the day, I had a gap in the day.
And what would be like a big message to all of your students?
An hour of the weekend on a Saturday and an hour on a Sunday. And if you can't do an hour on each day, 1 hour at least of the weekend where you sit down, you turn off your phone and you just read. Just read a book, read a magazine. Don't read online, don't read a screen time article. Just pick up a book and read for an hour. Let yourself be lost in another world for 1 hour of the weekend with no contact with the phone life or the screen time or anything like that. That's a minimal. And then if you can manage that, then build another hour on the Sunday. And if you can manage that, then build in a half an hour on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday as well. Just in half an hour to do the reading just means that actually it's one way of getting you away from your phone. It's one way of getting you out of your toxic area of screen time and getting you to think of something else. And you might not always be reading. You might decide that half hour where I said read, you would think, no, I read enough on a Saturday and a Sunday. With that half hour, I'm going to do something else. You might learn to play the piano. You might do what you're doing. Go and join a club outside of school and go and start doing something else to kind of develop your talent.